Welcome back to Wrestling with JD, WWJD for short. This is going to be the Money in the Bank review and the Raw preview. Match 1 was the ladder match for the women's title. Naomi won. I predicted that in my first video before the match started. Talked about how they had her booked into a corner with being the only story going on. She fell backwards. That was the big takeaway I remember. It was terrible. It was the bad botch job on the ladder. The commentary on the ladder match could have helped get these girls over a little bit better. Rhea Ripley was destroyed by the ladders. She was placed in between one. It was closed on her. It was sandwiched on her. She was tossed over the top rope and buried by a hunch of ladders. You could have had some great God Almighty, she's been broken in half moments. You could have had, she ain't getting up from that one. Good jolly Molly. There ain't no way she's walking tomorrow. I mean, you just go out a little bit and give it a little bit of flavor. I think more pizzazz and commentary with the three of them you have can go a long way in getting talent over. The other part was Alexa Bliss. She was folded up backwards like an accordion onto a ladder. I mean, just not a way a person should bend. It hurt me watching it. And again, commentary just didn't do that any justice. I really don't believe after that spot on the ladder, Alexa came back to do any kind of work in the match, because that pretty much folded her up, right? So, again, oh man, she's not walking tomorrow. She's not going to be able to come back for a week. I don't know if she ever, just something, some kind of excitement. But sell that a little bit, I had a video out before Money in the Bank, my first one, and I didn't have Dom on it. I didn't realize that AAA was doing Worlds Collide and Dom was going to go out and challenge somebody. So I did not have a prediction for Dirty Dom. And if I did, I might have gone the other way, because how fun would that be, having an Intercontinental title being defended intercontinentally? Anyway, he didn't lose. He went over and keeps his Intercontinental title. Speaking of Worlds Collide, when I watched it and tuned in a little bit, Conan on audio commentary, that was awesome. It reminded me a lot of watching the Cruiserweights from WCW when I was a kid. Becky Lynch comes out to her, whoa, I don't get it. The hybrid situation with your heels and faces right now in WWE is something I don't understand. I don't get. I'm not liking it. It's hard to follow. You got Becky Lynch coming out wanting to be the man, and a mean man at that, and still have the sing-along music. You get into the ring, people are singing along with you, and then you want to get them to boo you. We're emotional beings, we're fickle beings, but we're not bipolar. We're not that quick to turn and you just go, hey, no. Same thing with Seth Rollins. Whoa, we're going to sing with you and hate you at the same time. There's a reason why music changed and things changed, and heels and faces had certain things they did. Hybrid doesn't work. And there's three of you right now that are trying that out, and I just don't see it working. It's Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, and John Cena. Not changing his music either. He's still getting... John Cena comes to the ring still getting cheered. They're still doing the same stick with John Cena as a heel as they did with a face. There's really not much of a difference there. So I get it. It's a new era. It's a new way of doing things. But I don't think you necessarily need to hybrid your heels and faces so they can turn from one week to the next. Get a couple of characters. CM Punk is a good one for sure, where you're not really sure if this week he's going to be a heel and the next week he's going to be a face. But you don't need him to come out and get unneeded attention and say the heelish things like you have Lynch, Cena, and Rollins do. They're coming out giving heel promos. With CM Punk, he's not. You just know that at any given moment, his character is the kind that will screw you. He'll get you in the back. He'll take your spot. He'll do what it takes to be champion. And you know that means heel things he can do. So, he's a hybrid, but you can't try to copy that. You got to see how that worked for him and build off of it. This hybrid thing with Seth and the music and the Cena, and it takes away from the match. You know, I'm trying to not like this lady and like this lady at the same time. I'm trying to not like John Cena and like him at the same time. I'm trying not to sing along with Seth Rollins, but I'm also trying to hate him at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense. You're messing with your fans' emotions. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match was all Seth Rollins. There was a lot of fun hot spots. I like Americana Grande. I think he's the best luchador that we have on the circuit. But just kidding aside, he's doing double duty. He's running up the ladder, running up another ladder, hitting a headbutt, making spot after spot, making matches after matches. I mean, the guy's a talented wrestler. He's entertaining to watch, and he can tell his story with his match. It's a lost art these days. So my hat's off to Americana Grande, or Grande Americano, however you want to call him. But again, I had a video out before the Money in the Bank started. I predicted Seth Rollins because you booked yourself into a corner. Yeah, you want to see LA Knight win? Yeah, but you can't, because you can't have Paul Heyman be this awesome manager who's winning Hall of Fame rings and doing all these things for Roman Reigns, and title runs for Brock Lesnar, the Summer of Punk for CM Punk. You can't have him doing all this, and then Seth can't win the Money in the Bank. Can't have Seth Rollins having two enforcers with Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and have him lose Money in the Bank. It just doesn't work. I really felt they booked themselves into a corner where they needed, and they didn't even need Seth, but they had to have him. That was the only logical explanation. LA Knight, he is a good chaser. I like to watch him chase the belt. He'll get it every once in a while and lose it like he did to Nakamura. I don't think LA Knight needs to win Money in the Bank. He needs to keep chasing those belts. Maybe next year he can win it, and that'll give him another tool to chase the belts. But he's been champion. He's a good champion. But I think he's really good at chasing. He's got a lot of heel, not heel, but chase promos. He likes to go after you when you got it. Once he's got the belt, I think his promos go down a little bit. It's a little bit twist to him. It's a different cut to talk about what you're going to do as champion versus what you're doing to get to be champion. So I'm okay with him chasing. Maybe Money in the Bank needs to come along next time. But yeah, the main event was, nothing special, I don't think. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. There was really no stipulation to the match. There was no, bonus to winning the match. There was no story behind the match. I mean, it was just hard for me to, I get you have main event players in a main event match. What for? If I'm John Cena, I'm saying no. I'm not, I'm a champion. I'm going to run out and retire, take this belt with me. Why would I get into a tag team match and hurt you? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I could run a risk of hurting myself, and I can't do my plan of ruining wrestling. So, I mean, they didn't have any meat to it. There was really no story behind why they had the tag team. It felt thrown together, and like I said, I couldn't get emotionally behind it. I didn't care who won or lost. I predicted in the video that Cena would win by disqualification. Had no idea Cena would lose by disqualification and interference due to R-Truth returning. That was a fun little bonus. I know a lot of people are talking about that now. Was it a work? Was it not a work? Was it a work? Was it not a work? Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, does it? If it's a work, we all got worked. I did say if it was a work, it'd be awesome to bring John Cena into that somehow, to where he was the reason behind the firing. Dude's got my shirt. He's ripping me off, making money off me. He need to get rid of him. Calls The Rock. Rock does it. Keeps his heel persona. I mean, there's a way to work that into the storyline. But if it was legit and the fans had some power and pull, well, congratulations, fans. You got some power and pull. But it was a fun surprise nonetheless to see R-Truth return. He's one I enjoy. I've always enjoyed his segments, and if I miss his segments, he's one I enjoy going back to watch his segments. So that was definitely fun to see R-Truth return. One of the other key takeaways and moments from the match I had to pay attention to was the Jey Uso's ribs. Of course, he's got a little bit of an issue with them already, storyline-wise. So him being the one to take the brunt of the attack is going to open him up to what I believe is going to be a big bear hug from Gunther tonight. I don't think it's going to be the sleeper hold. I think he's going to attack his rib cage and do. Well, his move is the power bomb. You know, you only need one of those. So I wouldn't look for a sleeper finisher. I would be looking for something that has to do with the ribs tonight, because Jey Uso did get kind of taken advantage of in that ring by Paul and Cena until they had a little spat. Another highlight, I did enjoy the drone footage. That was definitely unique and a new way to experience a match. I wouldn't do it often, but that was fun. Hats off. You know, talking about R-Truth in that last match and the interference, whether it was a work or not, if you're going to put kayfabe on social media, I don't think that's a bad thing. Drew McIntyre uses it well. He rocked when he was in the matches. He would cut promos, put 10-minute videos on there. He used it well. You can do unedited promos and unedited videos and uncensored videos and put them on social media, advance your story, advance your character. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a really good way, like I said, to keep kayfabe alive. You're not going to be able to have it like you did back in the day where, you know, you're in Madison Square Garden, you can't record guys hugging that are enemies, but you can have online promos and cuts and bring kayfabe to that front, because it's a lot of disinformation on the social media anyway. So you're going to be in a fantasy land and hide behind these fantasy anonymous monikers. Why not have some fun with some kayfabe? So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm a fan. Whether it was a work or not, use social media and build kayfabe, build storylines, build your audience. You know, I don't know what The Rock was doing there, but I think the advertisements all over the ring detract now from the action inside the ring. I understood Vince didn't like to put anything on the ring itself because he didn't want it to take away from the matches, and I kind of get it. I'm alright with the WWE logo. Even the Prime logo in the middle wasn't really a distraction from me. The Prime bottles on the turnbuckles, you kind of get away from that. You're like, all right, I see what you know. They're still matching color-wise. You know, they're not really a distraction. But when you have 7-Eleven on the very bottom and you got bright red and orange letters, it's an eyesore. Pulls from it. There was a women's match early on, and it every close-up of a chokehold, of a replay, it just caught my eye. Instead of watching the match, I'd be watching the 7-Eleven logo. Instead of paying attention to a chokehold, I'm paying attention to the 7-Eleven logo. And that just made me realize that there was more and more, and I started looking on the mat, and I realized how oversaturated it was. And then you had to pull out a fireball ladder. Are you serious? I mean, I haven't seen one yet, but I heard the WWE has put logos on the tables now underneath the ring that you're going to go through, and they'll have Slim Jim on them with the WWE. I heard that. I was like, all right, now everybody's going to think they're a gimmicked table. Now you got gimmicked ladders. I mean, that's the way it used to be. If it was a special ladder marked like that, it let you know it was gimmicked. It wasn't real, right? It wasn't going to really hurt you. Not only that, you got Fireball. It's Fireball whiskey. You got Wheatley's vodka. I mean, you got all of these adult beverages now coming to grace the advertisements of WWE, but you're not giving us adult product. Come on! You know, if you're going to use adult beverages and promote adult things and have adult sponsors, give us a little bit of adult content. A cuss word here or there. Thank you, CM Punk. I get it, but get a little edgier with your storylines. Get a little bit more TV 14 at the very minimum. If you're gonna advertise adult stuff on a PG show, don't test our intelligence by giving us PG product. It's an oxymoron. It doesn't make any sense. But you left the TV 14 era because advertisements weren't there because you needed PG. You went to PG, advertisements went up, dollars went up, you make more money as PG, but now you're advertising things that are not PG. So, get consistent with what you're going to do, WWE. Rumor mill today is The Rock and Triple H have some kind of issue going on. They have some kind of a disagreement. I don't know. I've heard for a very long time through different interviews and sources, podcasts, that when The Rock was coming up, the Clique was still very much a thing in WWE. And Rocky Maivia would get a lot of grief from Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And the story goes, there might have been some jealousy. But I heard even before the power play that The Rock's been put on the board of TKO with, that he and Triple H never really got along. Triple H thought he was fast-tracked. You know how the story goes. They just didn't see eye to eye. So now the rumor mill is that, since Rock's on TKO, he didn't go to WrestleMania and didn't put anything on social media to his millions of followers like he did when he went, to kind of let the game struggle and sink. Could be true, could not be true, who knows? It's interesting that he's made a few appearances and just kind of dipped. Nothing's making any sense. You're making money to be on the board and the product is slipping. However, there is a thing now where Triple H came out and said Vegas is going back to, WrestleMania is going back to Vegas for 42, and the 18th and 19th of April. Triple H made that announcement via video. Says some things are good to do them twice, you to repeat them. The Rock is the one that came out in Toronto and announced NOLA as the site for WrestleMania 42. So now you just made The Rock a liar, Triple H. Is that storyline or is that going to be real? What's going on there? Not only that, is if it's storyline, you can actually build off of that, and you got Stone Cold in play again. He's in Nevada. He doesn't like to travel very much anymore, per his own admission. So you put Stone Cold back into play. If you pick up the Final Boss character and you get Triple H going down, I could see The Rock going up against somebody Triple H picks because he's got that pacemaker, so we can't wrestle. But he could bring somebody in to wrestle for him, like a second. And I can see The Rock getting in the ring, but you can hear that glass shatter. And, the Final Boss comes in, bloodline rules, build it back up again. You're going to have a bloodline versus bloodline situation anyway. And that's kind of where the preview for Raw is in play now, as well as the review for Money in the Bank, because Jacob Fatu did turn on Solo Sikoa. Solo, I hate you. That's, tough to take if you're Solo Sikoa, who's been pretty funny lately. So, the face turns on the way there. So Tommy Tonga and Tongaloa, they need to come back so you can have those three really be a rogue entity on their own. I don't know about JC. But Solo needs to be able to go back now to Jimmy, because a few months ago, Jimmy says, why'd you bring him? You can't trust him. I think it was Jimmy or Jay talking about how you can't trust the werewolf Jacob Fatu. Well, he just showed you that. So are you going to be able to do some long-term storytelling and Solo go back to the bloodline like, you're right, I got something going on? So you build that bloodline. Roman's going to take control of it, welcome him back, and The Rock comes back and he goes, what's going on? And he can lead Jacob Fatu in his bloodline. So there's a few different ways you can move off of this and pivot, and I hope they pivot correctly. But yeah, the rumor mill is Triple H and The Rock have some stuff that's not, 100%, not kosher, not good. And now you got some kind of story to come off of that. So are you kayfabing it? Are you not? I don't know, but there could be some brilliant story writing if you follow this up. So kind of looking forward to see what the build is up to and after SummerSlam. Speaking of SummerSlam, we still got to get Goldberg going. He's got a final match. Apparently, he admitted on a podcast or interview that he's pulled a hammy doing a high kick. He's pulled the muscle, pulled the bicep. He's got some injuries going on while he is doing some training for his final match. Good for you, Goldberg. I hope you can get going. I hope this match happens. So hopefully you can get into shape, because you're going to have that match. Otherwise, you're going to be going pretty late. I also, on the video game side, think that the delay on your release to 2K25 is this final match. Like, perhaps those injuries caused a delay in the release of that character. You know, it's been really fun for those video games to have WCW players in arenas, but you're the missing piece. You know, you're the man. So hopefully you'll be coming soon. So, Night of Champions is going to be in Saudi Arabia. I know they're billing John Cena for that. Not really. You know, my focus is on SummerSlam. I don't think we're going to have any compelling stories or any emotionally involved lines until the seeds are sown for SummerSlam. It means you're going to have to start getting Roman Reigns back. You're going to have to start building up Goldberg's last match. You got Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, where he can come and not have his match, but he can show up and I'm talking about Goldberg and plant the seeds for his final match at SummerSlam. And you got Night of Champions. You got 2 more before SummerSlam hits. I don't know. I don't really know, but you got to start getting that story going. It's 2 nights. The card like you put on at Money in the Bank, and yes, I saw the arena. It was half empty when the women's Money in the Bank match started. Are your tickets overpriced, or is your product going stale? I think a little bit of both. You've got really no compelling stories, no superstars to really get behind, and your commentators can't put anybody over. So I'm really hoping that the build starts now and some changes happen. If the rumor mill is correct and Triple H is about 18 months away from losing his job per Jonathan Coachman, then maybe he's going to get a fire lit and he's going to get more compelling storylines, and they're going to be more adult-oriented. Even adult, I say, young teens. When I was a kid, it was a young male soap opera. Well, let's bring that back and get some interest into these stories. So tonight on Raw, to wrap things up pretty much, I expect to see Gunther winning the world title away from Jey Uso. If it doesn't work, it's because you're going to have some kind of interference. Something's going to keep him away. Because he's not going to lose twice. He should be the champion. He's somebody you can get behind being a champion. He's a believable champion. He's a good champion. He could be a heel champion, have all these faces chase him. But I don't want belts. After Roman's long reign, it's fun to have somebody out there be on top, be that good, and have that charisma, and bring some weight behind the belt. Cody did about a year, but his reign didn't seem to be that great either. Don't know, but I'm looking forward to Gunther tonight on Raw. Not sure what else will happen. R-Truth might show up, might not show up. Pretty sure he was more of a SmackDown guy. I don't know if the contract thing makes a difference if you're let go and you come back, but Works usually have some kind of mention on TV. His did not have any mention on TV. Take it for what it is. Maybe some of the best stories are some of the ones that have some realness to them. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, Raw, that's the only thing I'm really, geared toward tonight is the Gunther and Jey match. I don't know what else is supposed to happen. Build some seeds. Maybe Seth comes in with his briefcase that he won and cashes in. Maybe Naomi's the first woman that doesn't cash in her briefcase 100% right now. At some point, you're going to have to lose the 100%. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Trying to get to live videos so I can start doing some live feeds once the shows begin, and the Raw and SmackDown and the PLEs. It's been fun. I enjoy it. It's fun to talk about, and as life changes, so do we. And I'm just going to have fun doing this, and if I can grow the channel, more people to talk to, more discussions. It's all about the WWE, AEW, TNA, the video games. I don't have much for TNA right now, except watching to see what could happen there. The crossover being underneath the same umbrella as Endeavor. I consider TNA to be WWE light-ish now. Curious as the contracts, how they work, if they can cross, promote, contracts, or if they're like WCW, where Goldberg was underneath Time Warner, and then others were underneath others. AEW, I checked into the other day, I believe. They were in my neck of the woods in Colorado doing Fighter Fest. I did check in. I wanted to see. I turned it on, and just not really impressed with it at all. I love Kenny Omega. I think he is one of the best wrestlers today, but he's just, he's getting winded. I think his sickness and health has paid a toll. His video game adventure wasn't the greatest. It did have a lot of fun to it, but it wasn't. It's not as polished as TKO's or WWE 2K25. Kenny Omega's matches are always good, but you could see the decline, and it wasn't him so much, but a lot of botches and just bad wrestling over there. I grew up watching WCW, so AEW was like WCW light. TNA, I gave a chance, and it'd go and then it'd fall. It'd go and then it'd fall. Unfortunately, there was a time where they did have a few guys in there that really did not have my interest anymore, and I just kind of lost it and fell off of TNA for a while. AEW brings me back, like finally competition. We can't have this watered down product of WWE that just seems to take advantage of being the only show in town. It's a global juggernaut. Doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be great, just has to put out product and churn a machine. So it's become like this corporate machine where Tony Khan has become the new Vince McMahon, I guess, where he's the sole promoter. Everybody else is owned by the corporations, which is sad for wrestling. I never thought I'd see corporations instead of promoters own wrestling, but here we are. Trust me, I'm looking. That's what I'm looking for from WWE right now. I want to see the build to SummerSlam because I want a story. I want to be excited. I want to have fun. I want to cheer for somebody. I want to boo somebody. I don't want a hybrid. So let's see what happens tonight. I'm sure I'll come back with another video, or maybe even a short, because I can't do live yet, and discuss what happens on Raw. Again, ring the bell. Thanks for coming by. Like and subscribe.